So in terms of anapanasati, mindfulness of breath, we spoke recently about the wrong views around that. But what did the Buddha teach? What did he mean by mindfulness of breathing? How is it done in the right sense? And I have a sutta, and I'll just read a little bit of it. It's from the Samyutta Nikaya, 54.6, and this is to Arita. And the Buddha asks the monks, do you cultivate mindfulness of the in and out breathing? Do you cultivate recollection of the breath? And Venerable Arita replied to the Blessed One, I cultivate mindfulness of breathing. But how do you cultivate mindfulness of breathing, Arita? And then Arita says this short verse, having let go of desire for past and future sensual pleasures, and having thoroughly subdued perceptions of resistance with regard to internal and external events, I knowingly breathe in and I knowingly breathe out. And the Buddha says, there is that mindfulness of breathing, but this is a detailed approach which brings such a practice to fulfillment. So he's agreeing with Arita and then saying, let me give you the detailed.
Yeah, let me give you the thorough one.
Yeah.
They would make it, well, they would fulfill it completely.
Yeah. And just to point out, when he's talking about mindfulness, he's talking about right mindfulness, that which has the right view. Right?
Well, yeah, well, there you go. Like even mindfulness, just to start with that term, it's not focusing. You're not mindful when you're focusing on sensations of your breath. You're mindful when you're not forgetful. So it's non-forgetfulness of your breathing. That's the practice. Non-forgetfulness of a dynamic reference point that is here and now, whether you want it to be or not. So, well, again, because we might have people listening this particular video without listening to the previous ones, as Anapanasati Sutta says, the Anapanasati was taught basically to monks that were at least Sotapannas. So, practicing non-forgetfulness of breathing as a right reference point would then calm your mind rightly and bring your right view to fulfillment. So the Buddha never went to a householder and taught them Anapanasati. Just after he offered the meal, he taught him meditation technique and then went back to the forest or something. Never ever happened. Unthinkable.
So what you're saying and what I'm hearing, is that you can use the breath for your development of right view once you have a certain way of seeing.
Well, yeah, once you know what the Dhamma is.
Then you can use the breath, the body, the posture.
The four Satipatthanas.
Whatever.
Exactly. Yeah.
To cultivate that right view.
But again, using them through non-forgetfulness, not through focusing on sensations of that. That's the opposite of where your memory is. You forget everything else when you're focusing hard on something of an object of your perception. So it's completely the opposite direction. And that's the whole point. Like, you don't need more detailed instruction than what the sutta says. Knowingly you breathe in, knowingly you breathe out.
That's already, in fact, the details.
Well, can you do that? Why is that not clear? Why do you need more specific description? Is it because you expect the practice to be different? Or do you want it to be tactile observations that you're used to? So then saying knowingly you breathe in, knowingly breathe out is just like kind of too abstract, basically, divorced. So what does that even mean? Well, it means that. Knowingly you breathe in. Can you breathe in and out without forgetting that you are breathing in and out? Without attending it directly, you're breathing in and out. Because you can be breathing in and out without attending it. That's what you're doing most of your time. You don't need to attend to your breathing in order to breathe. It's already there. So can you access that which is already there through your memory, through the knowledge of it being already there, happening like this or like this, but not through directly attending and try to manipulate and observe sensations closely up, expecting magic to come out of them. Or use it to forget about everything else.
So using it as a reference point.
It's a knowledge of a dynamic reference point, that if you learn how to maintain, cultivate, without falling into directly attending it, you are developing it. And why is it important to not directly attend it? Because when you directly attend things, it always has to be done at the expense of something else. Always. But if you're learning to not forget things that are already there, that's how you get the bigger picture. That's how you actually start to include everything more specific that's occurring to you now. At the same time. So it's mindfulness of breathing, not sensation watching of your breath.
And even just as, this is to the monks, and as Arita points out, he's let go of desire for past and future sensual pleasure.
Yes, like I don't think that most of people don't even recognize the implications of what Arita said. He abandoned desire for past and future sensual pleasures. Somebody might wonder, how do you abandon desire for past? It's already gone. But you realize, if you're not free from sensuality here and now, past sensual pleasures are still sensual. Remembering past sensual pleasures imply desire that you're not free from. Wishing for future sensual pleasures imply a desire that you're not free from here and now. But if you're free from any desire here and now for sensual pleasures through and through, as that framework of your intention is purified from desire towards sensual pleasures, even past pleasures that you used to enjoy will not be seen as sensual, will not be felt as sensual here and now anymore. And you certainly will not be craving for the future ones. And how did he abandon that? But then he says in the next line, he abandoned resistance towards anything and everything internally or externally that might occur. So there is no resistance, there is no patiga, there is no aversion. Means he has been developed in regard to his own body. Sufficiently enough that the resistance on account of discomfort would not be inducing thoughts of sensuality. So he stopped resisting. As a result of that, the main coping mechanism of dealing with pain has been abandoned. And main coping mechanism of dealing with pain is sensuality, as the sutta said that before. Like an untrained mind, when touched with unpleasant feeling, does not know any other escape from that feeling except sensual desire, replacing it with pleasure of sensuality. That is at its root. So if you stop cultivating that resistance, if you overcome it, if you train yourself in regard to it, when discomfort touches you, you don't resist it internally nor externally. You certainly don't act out of it. That would have been developed way before. The desire to cover it up through the pleasure of senses will also fade. And then you will have no desire towards sensuality, because the main purpose for that sensuality that existed is now abandoned. It's gone. So if a mind has developed that, then you can now practice the knowledge of your in and out breath, not before.
Because if you're trying to get away from your situation, cover up the pain with sensuality and so on, how are you going to be aware or knowing, know the greater context, see what's actually going on, remember what is present?
Exactly. Yeah. It's a loss of perspective. Focusing is a loss of perspective. Intentional diminishing of perspective, because perspective is painful. So you focus so that everything else just disappears.
Sensuality, the act of sensual, running away from
discomfort that touches you, exactly.